So, guys, anyone here yet? Supposedly, they're letting the jury back in. Somehow, the chatters on the other channel have inside information. I don't know where they have it from, but so it says, I'm reading their chat. Let's see. Here's, if you want to go directly, again, well, nobody's here yet, but you want to get in there directly. But I'll read the chat. It's saying they're letting people into the courtroom now. Jury is coming back. Fatma says. I think it's going to be an LWAP. I don't know what that means. I do not see jury clock. I don't know where they're getting that information, but apparently some news sources are telling them that they're coming into the courtroom. Oh, on Twitter. Somebody saw on Twitter that the jury's coming back in. The clock has stopped. They were deliberating for almost 3.5 hours. 3 hours, 27 minutes. So apparently they're coming in. We still don't see it. I still have the sound off. Anyone in here yet? Oh, nobody. I'm by myself. Okay, well. All right. She was already found guilty. This is the penalty phase. She is guilty. This is the jury deciding on the sentencing. I'm reading the chat for you guys. All the parties are in the courtroom. Not sure why we don't have the video. Why aren't we getting the video? Hello? All right, we got to look somewhere else. Apparently, they're back. And we're not getting the video. Are we going to miss it? I don't have the attention span. Okay, apparently the jury is back, but we're not getting the video over here on the Law and Crime channel. So I don't know if, let me Google around and see if we find it. Kaitlin Armstrong. Sentencing. All right, sentencing live. It says Yahoo News. Kaitlin Armstrong says it's live. Where is the link? During closing arguments, key points. I'm looking while you guys are watching over there. Jurors to deliberate on sentence. Okay, where is it? Why don't we have the video yet? A bunch of rainbow. The verdict is reached for the sentencing, but why don't we have the video? I don't know where else to go to find it. So guys, I gave you the link to this one, but apparently we're still not getting it. Twitter is reporting a verdict is reached. So on Twitter, they say a verdict is reached as far as the sentencing. And the jury is back in the courtroom, and we're getting absolutely nothing over here. And I don't know where else to go. And I've got this buzzer on, which is driving me crazy. So I'm going to turn that off. So a verdict has been reached, guys. A verdict has been reached for the sentencing, but I don't know where to go to find it. If you guys want to help me out, Google around the internet, see if you find another source. Some people, I'm not wearing my contacts, so I can't see very well. Sorry. Is anyone in my stream yet? One person. Oh, hello there. Yes, hi, Ryan. They're going to sentence the lady. She was found guilty yesterday. And I'm over on this other channel where they're supposedly going to live stream it. But look at it. It's just like that. So Alex from News. So see all these people in the chat that I'm in over on Law and Crime. I'll give you the link. I put the link in there, but I don't know if it stays until people come in or. So, oh, okay. Yes. So, well, the verdict is guilty. That was yesterday. But now the sentence, we don't know what the sentence is going to be. So, yeah, isn't that amazing? It takes a while. So while I wait here, I have the volume off because look, when I turn the volume on, you just get. So no, that's back. But let me turn that off. She's guilty is supposed to be the sentencing. Where is it? They're not. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not going to show it. I don't see why they wouldn't. They showed the verdict yesterday. Why wouldn't they show this? Is all right. I'll keep Googling around. If you see something, well, you won't have any way of letting me know. Sentencing live. Let me see if I can find it somewhere else. Maybe they're not going to show it. Watch live. Closing arguments. No, we already saw those. Jury hears statement. Jury deliberates sentencing. Sentencing today. Maybe it's on this channel. Oh my goodness, what is going on? I don't know what to do. This is the only place I know where we could see it. She's in the courtroom. Okay, maybe they're gonna turn it on once everybody's seated and awaited. So I'll what have I done? Let me restart it. Make sure it's on the latest. That's a commercial. I'm just clicking like. Okay. Now I messed it up. Okay, there we go. Hang on. They're in. Okay. Okay. I'll put it on full volume. I'll mute mine.
The defendant will please rise. In cause number D1DC 223011129, verdict of the jury for the offense of murder. We, the jury, having found the defendant, Kaitlin Armstrong, guilty of the offense of murder, assess her punishment and confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division for a period of 90 years and a $10,000 fine, signed at 1:58 p.m. by the presiding juror. You may be seated. Does either side desire to have the jury polled as to its punishment verdict?
No, Your Honor.
9 years?
I will.
Did I hear that right?
The clerk to pass this to the deputy for fingerprinting.
Wait, something's. I don't think that.
We can do that as well.
Let me mute. Let me know if you hear any sound problems. 9 years? I don't think that's right.
Again, Ms. Armstrong, I would need to have you rise again. So
Oh,
I can do the
okay.
official
Yeah.
sentencing.
No, that wasn't the sentencing. I don't know what that was. It wasn't.
This court hereby sentences you to 90 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice and a $10,000 fine as imposed by the jury.
Okay. Well. Oh goodness.
Is there any allocution to be done?
Yes, Your Honor, state has two people. We first like to call Kaitlin Case.
Okay.
Hold on, Judge. You want the cameras to do what?
Over on the other chapter, did they say 9 or 90? They're going crazy. It was 90. I heard 90. It was 9 for something. I don't know what that. And then it was 90. It was 99.
And start.
Kaitlin, I want you to know that I fought for Mo with everything I had that night. From the moment that I got home and started doing chest compressions, which was the longest 10 minutes of my entire life. I remember feeling so relieved when the police arrived, that help was finally there. People who really knew what they were doing and who could help me care for her. I fought for her afterwards when I was pulled from my home by police and taken downstairs. I initially refused to go to the police station that night because I didn't want her to be alone. In one of the body cam videos, I say something along the lines of, "I can't leave her. I'm the only one she has here." I couldn't understand why they weren't bringing her downstairs to the ambulance so that they could rush her to the hospital. I asked one of the officers why they weren't bringing her down. And that's when he told me that she unfortunately didn't make it. That was the first moment that night when I realized that there was no coming back from this. I think I had just assumed that as soon as she was taken to a hospital, that she was going to be okay. It never actually crossed my mind in the chaos of that night that she wouldn't be alive, that she would die, that she was already dead when I arrived home. I was questioned for almost 3 hours that night. They finally let me wash the blood off my hands in the police station bathroom. And I'll never forget that moment in the bathroom. Watching the sink turn red and wanting to put it back on my hands because it was the only thing I had left of her. Your actions caused that pain. I remember waking up a few hours later in my dad's bed with my sister and realizing that it wasn't a dream, that it was all real. I'd asked the detective over and over again the previous night when and how they were going to notify Mo's family. For what felt like an eternity the next morning, I waited for her mom and dad to call me. Finally, Karen called me, and it was the hardest phone call of my life. She was wailing, screaming. She wasn't speaking words at first. It was raw and guttural. It was the vocalization of grief. Her world had stopped. She was confused and in disbelief. She kept saying over and over again, "Who would ever want to hurt my baby?" Her mom asked me if I thought she had been raped. I told her no. She asked me if I thought it was quick. And I said, yes, I thought it was quick, even though I didn't know. At no point in my life did I think I would ever have to tell someone's mother that I thought their daughter's death was quick. Your actions caused that pain. I've watched Karen sink to the floor in her kitchen because she was sobbing so hard and could no longer stand. I've watched her experience her first Mother's Day without her daughter, surrounded by wildflowers and her children's friends. I've watched her put lights and pumpkins on Mo's gravesite. I've watched her ride her bike and pedal harder because that's what Mo would have wanted. I've watched her in the darkest days not be able to get out of bed because she had nothing left. I watched her grieve for her daughter, who she will never get to see grow up anymore, get married, skyrocket in her career, inspire others further, have children. I've seen her open her heart to others through this loss and share her vulnerability and deep well of wisdom. I've seen her sit in this courtroom every single day with her head held high and bear witness to what happened to her incredible daughter. I sat with her as she visited my house for the first time and laid on the floor of the bathroom in a fetal position, stroking the ground, sobbing and crying out loud about how much she missed her. She turned onto her back and laid right where Mo had laid and taken her final breath. And my God, does Karen and Mo look exactly alike? I've watched her become friends with all of my friends and celebrate their accomplishments and my own. I've watched her continue to be the best mother, even though I can't imagine how painful the days must feel. I've watched her smile and laugh and still somehow find joy in life. I've witnessed her strength through this all, and I've been inspired by her daily in this slog that we've called life recently. It has been exhausting showing up every day here in court, listening, watching, reliving every moment from so many different angles. It feels so real all over again. I go home every night to my house after watching video after video of it all day here, and there's Mo's ashes sitting on my bedside table waiting for me. I'm struck by how much this has affected so many people. I've watched your parents in court every day, not once smiling or interacting with anyone, just waiting to see what happens to their daughter. I've watched my own dad struggle to look at the videos and the audio throughout the trial. I've seen Colin take the stand, unable to even sit fully upright as he answered question after question about the innermost pieces of his life, a man whose life has also been turned upside down by this tragedy. The ripple effect is almost incomprehensible. It's also unbelievably sad and painful any way you look at it. So many people in this room have lost so much. It's incredibly difficult to understand someone's life, how they lived, what they meant to others. Words feel completely inadequate right now, and they probably always will. How do you distill a life? The more I think on that question, the more I have to look at those people around me that were impacted so deeply by Mo. I'll forever be honored to have known her, to have held her as a close friend, both in life and in death. And I'll have to continue seeking out ways to honor her legacy. We have to live bigger, more fully, with more vulnerability and open hearts for her. That's what she would have wanted. I want to be riding bikes with Mo, cooking new recipes, waking up on Christmas morning together, plotting new businesses with her, growing older and hopefully wiser, and building and creating what we want in this life together. Instead, her ashes are in the ground in Vermont. I'm putting in the work right now to process it all and continue healing. I'm trying to open my heart even more and just let it all wash over me. I still feel so many things. Guilt for not protecting Mo, for not coming home sooner.
90 years.
I'm angry.
I didn't hear anything about parole.
You,
I think 90 years
at
with
the
no
utter
parole, but I'm not
tragedy
sure.
of nature, at the senselessness, at not being able to hear Mo's voice again. I feel deep sadness for the road ahead that Mo's family must continue to walk. Deep sadness for Matt, for now being an only child. And deep sadness for you and for your family. Mo once said, if we're not willing to risk catastrophic failure, we're probably not dreaming, living, or loving the right way. I'm going to read that one more time. If we're not willing to risk catastrophic failure, we're probably not dreaming, living, or loving the right way. That is profound.
Yes, life
That is
sentence.
powerful.
I mute the mic so there's
That is
no
right.
background noise. But
She was not afraid to break things to make them better. That's what she's doing to each of us. She's breaking us down and teaching us how to rebuild the world around us in a deeper, more meaningful way. And for that, we have to be grateful. We have to be grateful to her for living with such poise and vibrancy, for truly seeing those around her as they were, for pushing us to do better and to be better humans. Those closest to her knew she had no limits, and it was an honor, a privilege to be in her orbit, even for only a short time. Even after all of this, I feel hope. I hope that I can live a life that she would be proud of, and I'll carry her with me each day. I choose light, I choose joy, and I choose love. And Kaitlin, I really hope that you can find that too.
They actually haven't said anything about parole. They said 90 years. That's sweet what she said to Kaitlin. And Kaitlin, I hope you can find that too. See, if you're a woman, or many women, as horrible as it is what she did, we understand a little bit about the anger that she felt, not what she did. But see how she ended it, Kaitlin? I hope you can find that too. It was like no hatred towards her.
First, I wanna
Okay,
say, I
I'm
want
quiet.
to thank Your Honor for giving us this opportunity. It really means a lot. Kaitlin Armstrong. I'm not sure if my words can penetrate your heart, but I'm gonna try. I hate what you did to my beautiful daughter. It was very selfish and cowardly. That violent act on May 11th. It was cowardly because you never chose to face her woman to woman in a civil conversation. She would have listened. She was an amazing listener. She would have cared about your feelings. She was a caring, empathetic person. If you allowed yourself to actually know her, you never, ever would have wanted to hurt her. This never would have happened. You and Colin could have had a beautiful life together. You destroyed that. You ruined your life, your family.
No, she would not have ended up with Colin anyway. She still was going to lose him.
So many more. When you shot Mariah in the heart, you shot me in my heart. You shot Eric and Matt in their hearts. You shot Mariah's cousins and aunts and uncles and all the people who loved her. Pierced their hearts. You will have to live with your choices and its consequences, just like all of us do on this planet. Because you are a human being, created in the image of God. I pray for your healing. The only way that can begin is to admit your guilt, own your actions, and seek forgiveness, not just from us, but most importantly from your Creator. Jesus is your very best friend. He is the one who can cover the sin because he is the only righteous one who suffered on our behalf, sacrificing his body on a cross for our sake. Only you can choose to cry out to him and be redeemed. He can melt your heart of stone with his unconditional love, mercy, and grace. It's up to you. There's no winner in this story. Your actions have caused all sides to suffer. There's a ripple effect, sorrow upon sorrow upon sorrow. Mariah is free of this sorrow, though. She is more alive today than any of us here. Mariah is in the presence of God's pure light and love, and nothing can ever hurt her again. You killed her earthly body, but her spirit is so very much alive. And you can never change that. I am confident in my hope. That's what I named my new puppy. I'm so confident in that hope of spending eternity with her and our loving Creator who made this vast and beautiful universe.
Yeah, you see, they don't feel revenge, or they just feel, yeah, the sadness, but they see her humanity, which is kind of what I've been saying.
That concludes the application.
Anyway,
The defense will please rise once again. Ms. Armstrong, having sentenced you in accordance with the verdict of the jury, you are now remanded to the custody of the Travis County Sheriff's Office for beginning of the execution of sentence. You all are dismissed. Yes. I'm not through speaking with the jury, so you might want to wait that. Wait for that. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I do want to thank you on behalf of all the parties involved for your diligence and deliberations and hanging in there with us for these weeks. In your service, I do recognize what a sacrifice it has been. Even though we've tried to make it somewhat bearable, I do appreciate everything that you've done to be here with us. I know we were all thinking we'd be having turkey together next week, but we managed somehow to get through it all and finish on today. So on behalf of all the parties, I thank you. And I'm telling you this now because oftentimes after the verdict is in, you all, the first thing you want to do is get out of this building. And I certainly understand that. There may be some of you that would like to speak with the attorneys if they would like to come and speak with you. I have told Deputy Warner to let me know if there are any of you that would like to have a conversation with them, if they have any desire to speak with you as well. It is up to you who you talk about this with from this point.
that
You don't have to.
courtroom always had such crappy sound, though. So you can barely hear the judge now. But basically, she's telling them you're allowed to speak about the, you can speak to the news now, because the jury is not allowed to speak to news or anyone while the trial's going on. But now she's basically telling him, I could barely hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear it better. So that's that. So yeah, that was yeah, both the mother and the friend. You see, they didn't have anger and revenge. They as hurt as they are, they thought, they understood. They just, she shouldn't have done it, but they understood her pain dealing with that horrible boyfriend of hers. But what the mother said that I don't agree with, she said, you and Colin could have had a beautiful life together. No, they wouldn't have. This guy Colin would have dumped her anyway. He didn't love her if he was sneaking around behind her back, and he wasn't ready to settle down just yet. At the peak of his career, and fame is when he could have as many women as he wants. He wasn't about to settle down with her. They'd already been, they'd been on a break. Now he's sneaking around with the woman he had dated before when it wasn't going to work out between him and Kaitlin Armstrong. And I think eventually he would have probably had another. I'm not saying he would have ended up with Mo Wilson either. I doubt he would have ended up with either one of the women. That's the really sad thing. He probably wouldn't have ended up with either of them and would have eventually been with some other woman that he would have settled down with. It. People at that age, men at his age, mid-30s, he's still playing the fields, especially, I don't know. Anyway, some men do settle down before that, but he wasn't at a point in his life. He was the kind of guy, or he is the kind of guy that's going to settle down when he's close to 50. That's when he's going to find a woman that he wants to commit to, and probably she'll be younger than him, 15 years younger. I've lived long enough to know how the world. Men who aren't as, famous, or, that are just more normal, maybe settle down around 30 or something. But there's no set rules. But from what I've seen in my almost 60 years, now I round up now. I'm not 60 yet, but I round up. I may as well. That particular man, Colin Strickland, was not ready to settle down with anyone. He was going to eventually cheat on Armstrong with maybe Mo Wilson, maybe someone else, but they would not have ended up together, which is really why it's unfortunate she wasted her life over him, because she's not going to have him, and she still wasn't going to have him even if she wouldn't have killed the young lady. So it's tough, but now she's going to be in jail 90 years. The only thing I didn't hear was that there would be parole. Yeah, he was a philanderer, and he eventually would settle. He will settle down eventually, but not at the peak of his career. And now maybe he'll slow down after what just happened. He may just have, woken up and said, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to say it's his fault. It's only the fault of Kaitlin Armstrong after all, but he may be more careful," is all I'm saying. And not move in with someone so quickly. They didn't know each other that well when she moved in. She moved in with him. I imagine she might have been a little pushy too, maybe. I don't know her either. But the timing, it was during COVID, and then in Texas they had another shutdown with no electricity, all like within the same time frame. COVID, and once COVID was starting to let up, boom, Texas had their electric grid completely stopped working, and it was cold. It was winter time. So, maybe, let's move in together. It's so cozy and warm. It's winter. I could imagine how she took it. Not that she took advantage, but the timing made it more conducive to them just moving in. But they really didn't know each other. He met her in 2020, I think, or on, the dating app. He's only known her like 3 years at tops. And that 1 year she's murdered. She's been on. So actually, he'd only known her about 2 years fully. That's not much time. And you're always on your best behavior at the beginning of a relationship. He was only just now starting to see her jealous side and her, and obviously the little bit psychopathic side. So anyway, that's that. And then we'll find out about parole. They didn't say anything about parole either way. I'm thinking it's maybe on the table. Or because they usually say 90 years. First, they said something about 9 years, though. I don't understand what that. Maybe the 9 years was for when she tried to escape. She could have gotten 20 years for that escape attempt that she escaped, and within the hour they caught her again. But so maybe the 9 years was for that, and the 90 years for the murder. And then I just want to rectify something that I've been saying incorrectly about the trial that I brought up on my last video. There were 3 shots, and I kept on saying, the first 2 shots were immediate, and the third shot was, I had understood 45 seconds later. But because I didn't read it, I heard someone saying it, I think on the news, or I don't remember where I heard it. But they must have said 4 to 5 seconds later. So the shots were very rapid. 1, 2, and then the third one, 4 to 5 seconds later. I somehow misunderstood, and I understood 45 seconds later. That's a big difference, because 45 seconds gives you time to reflect and see what you've done and change your mind. But it was quick. It was boom, boom, boom. And if you weren't here, during the closing arguments, they let us hear the screaming, the girl screaming, and then the shots. That's on the closing arguments. The prosecutor. Let me take this off. Wait a minute. Take that one off there. So she's being a good girl. I'm not going to put her down until I log off because the 99 years. Yeah, no, I think the 99 years was for the murder, and then potential 99 years for the murder, and then potential 20 years for the escape attempt. Escape attempt with bodily harm. I don't know who she harmed. Maybe she harmed a little bit, the cop. But yeah, maybe they just said, oh, let's just do the 99 years, something like that. But I'm thinking she might get paroled, though, after some time, because they haven't said that. They haven't said anything one way or the other, so maybe they left that up in the air, depending on how she behaves and in jail, stuff like that. I don't know. But she'll be in a long time before parole is allowed. Texas is one of the harshest states for penalty. They have the death penalty. She could have gotten the death penalty, but they don't use the death penalty very much anymore in the U.S. They still do on occasion, but it's still legal in some states. I think it should be illegal. I don't think we should have the death penalty, even for the most horrible criminals, but it is still legal. But they do tend to not use it very much. Maybe for serial killers, they still get, or they did execute someone recently for a crime committed back in the 90s. And he didn't repent. He feels fine with what he did. So you could look it up. I don't want to go into detail. It's a horrible case. So, even to save him from the death penalty, you'd think he would show some, like, oh, I'm so sorry what I did, but he didn't. To the day they executed him, he said, no, what I did was right. And it was so not right. So he's just a proud person, or, the 9 years was an error. Everything I'm seeing is 90 years. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe we could go back and listen. They said something about 9 years. We can. What will the verdict? Oh, now there's another trial that they're looking at here. Oh, you can't see it. Sam Brammer. That's another trial. That channel is fun if you like trials. It's always showing a trial in the United States. If you like trials in the United States. I have watched trials abroad, but I tend to lose interest. Like I was watching a trial in Africa once. But it wasn't it's not meant to be entertaining, but it just wasn't very entertaining. I like to see the witnesses and this was just a bunch of people talking all the time, and maybe it just wasn't an interesting case. And I can't find that page. There is a page on the internet, international trials, like around the world. And I can't remember what page it was. I used to go to it all the time. I never kept the link, and now I don't remember. So I could probably Google and find it again. But anyway, Sam Brammer. I wonder what that one's about. I have a list of trials I wanted to follow, but some of them have already. Sam Brammer. Let's see what that case is about. Sam Brammer. The David Kohlberger trial is going on as well. Ivan Brammer strangled girlfriend. Ivan Brammer? Wait a minute. It says Sam Brammer. Iowa versus Ivan Brammer. Oh, Sam. Yeah. Sam is his nickname. Brammer. Strangled girlfriend murder trial. So that one is charged with second degree. Let's read that one. That one's apparently going on. Oh, let me show you that page here. Share this tab. Yeah, the 9 years was maybe something, but anyway, it's 90 years, and I can't see if there's parole or not. But look at the Sam Brammer. This is one that they're talking about on that page there, on the Law and Justice. Let's see. The trial began on Monday for a man accused of killing his girlfriend, whose body was later found frozen in a ditch. He's an old guy. A man sits in court with his attorney. Ivan Sam Brammer sits in court November 13th, 2023. Ivan Sam Brammer is charged with second-degree murder, tampering with a corpse, and theft in the death of Eileen Gowan. Gowan, 60, was last seen with Brammer, with whom she was in an on-again, off-again relationship. Guys, if you're in an on-again, off-again, just get rid of the person. Don't on and off again is just bad news. You're either on and you love each other. Or if it's on and off again and on again, maybe one on and off, you can deal with it. But if it's on, off, just, you got to end it. Just end it, at least for a few years, because it's bad news. You always get, silly. All right. Gowan was reported missing on February 15th. I'll give you one off again. I'll give you one on off. If you're on again and you're off again, don't go back. Give it one chance. Don't even give it 3 strikes. One chance. You're on again. It'll work out. If it doesn't work out the second time, don't even give it a 3rd try. Just say, look, let's end it. Sometimes they say, oh, let's be friends. But realistically, can you really be friends? If you can, great. I was able to be friends with one of my exes. I was on, off, and then we were friends, and it was all cool. And that's the gentleman that died, actually, left me his dogs. The dogs also have died now. But we were able to stay friends. But he was a very, out there guy, made friends with everyone, very personable. Oh, my gosh, everybody loved that man. And yeah, I was able to get to just friendship with him. But if you can't truly be just friends with someone, and be careful, because you may be fine with just being friends, but the other person may be lying just so they can be near you, to hope for a 3rd try. So I don't know. Feelings are so complicated. Anyway, Gowan was reported missing on February 15th by her daughter, Nicole Shipper. Nicole told police, I can't see her. Told police when she reported her mother's disappearance that her mother, I have trouble with these contact lenses, had in her possession a personal safe containing $1,200. After days of searching, her body was found. Oh, the guy wanted her money. But it's not even that much. I mean, yeah, it's a nice chunk of change, but $1,200 is not worth killing someone over. Millions, maybe. But after days of searching, her body was found on February 26th in a ditch, partially frozen. Gowan's clothing was intact, but her purse and safe were gone. While temperatures had been above freezing the day she disappeared, they dropped soon after. And investigators said they believe Gowan was in the ditch the 11 days she was missing. Can you guys hear me? Let me check the chat. Make sure you can hear me. There doesn't appear to be any parole. Yeah, it's like there's no mention of parole, so probably there isn't. Investigators quickly focused their attention on Brammer, whose relationship with the victim was described by friends and family as volatile, with much verbal fighting and alcohol involved. That's the other thing. If somebody is on some sort of substance, addicted, also, the substance takes precedence over you. So $1,200 to a drug addict is a lot of money. They don't care. They'll kill you for that if they need to get the drugs and they need money for the drugs. Yeah, $1,200 to a drug addict is like exorbitant, depending on the drug. But just for that next hit, they don't care. So alcohol was involved, where he didn't need to kill her for the alcohol, because alcohol doesn't have to be expensive. But if they're on some kind of drugs, don't trust them, because their drug will always take precedence over you. 2 witnesses who spoke to police said that before her disappearance, Gowan had been kicked out of the apartment she shared with Brammer, and that Brammer had been holding her personal safe, which contained $1,500, until she paid him $300. Police noted that on February 15th, Brammer deposited $1,500 into his bank account. Wait a minute, but the safe. Wait. Up here it says it contained $1,200, and down here it says it contained $1,500. So it's a little mistake there. So okay, that's a trial that's going on. Maybe we'll watch next week. Next week I'll be in Lexington, Tuesday, in Massachusetts. Cold up there. In an affidavit obtained by Court TV, detectives said they interviewed Brammer 4 times between February 15th and February 24th. While Brammer initially told officers he had picked Gowan up at 8:30 a.m. and took her to a house where she was staying with a friend, he quickly changed his story. Detectives said this was proven to be a false statement, and each interview after, when presented with inaccuracies in his previous statements, Brammer would change his story to conform to the facts presented. Yeah, that's what guilty people do. Ivan Brammer is charged with tampering with the corpse, theft, and second-degree murder in the death of Eileen Gowan. On February 25th, the day after his last interview with police and the day before Gowan's body was found, Brammer sold his truck to a salvage yard. It was crushed and shredded the same day. It must have had evidence in it. When police looked at the video from the city and private cameras on February 13th, they began to put together a timeline that showed when Gowan may have died. 8:30 a.m. to 9:28 a.m., Gowan is seen walking, acting normally, and sitting upright in Brammer's truck. 10:28 a.m. Brammer is seen driving his truck, but detectives note something is different with the way Gowan is sitting or positioned in the truck. At multiple locations, it appeared Gowan is awkwardly slumped in the passenger seat. He killed her, and then he kind of was trying to sit her in the truck, but she was slumping around. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. 10:56 a.m. Police note that Gowan does not. He was driving around with this dead woman. He's thinking, what the heck do I do now? He probably killed her in a fit of rage, and then he's like, shit, what do I do? And he's driving around trying to figure it out. All right, 11:06 a.m. Gowan is no longer visible in Brammer's truck. So between 10:56 and 11:06, he disposed of her in a ditch. You see, it was not not premeditated, because he killed her in a fit of rage. Because, just from what the timeline appears. And then I got to get rid of her, and he threw her in a ditch. He didn't even try to hide her body, just tossed her out. Gowan's initial autopsy revealed bruises, cuts, and scrapes to most of her body, as well as head injuries. None of the head injuries were believed to have been. That's probably why it's second-degree murder, because it was not premeditated. None of the head injuries were believed to have been severe enough to cause her death. The medical examiner who conducted the autopsy said that due to the level of decomposition, they could not determine the cause or manner of death, which were both listed as unknown. Brammer was initially charged with tampering with a corpse and theft of $1,500 or $1,500, but prosecutors upgraded charges after getting a second opinion on the cause and manner of Gowan's death. Dr. Baden, a doctor in New York, consulted on the case, offered his opinion that Gowan's cause of death was a traumatic asphyxia due to neck compression, and the manner of death was homicide. They got into an argument. He just lost his temper and strangled her. Okay. Here you go, my darling. Don't attack me. Okay, hey, she's being good. I'm getting warm because I put on a pair of corduroys. And it's too warm down here for corduroys. But so daily trials. So they're on day 3 of that trial. The jury watched a video from the police showing February 19th welfare check on Brammer after his daughter called 911 about his erratic behavior. Wait a minute. When did it occur, though? All right. Anyway, yeah, he killed her on February 15th. So the daughter said he was acting erratically. Day 2, it's kind of long. It's too long. I'll give it to you if you want to read it. I get tired of reading. I'm a short-term reader. I can't concentrate. All right, here we go. So if you're interested in this trial, it's another one that's going on. And let's see, David Kohlberger. Let's see if lawyer Mark has updates on David Kohlberger. TikTok. This girl.
Can you do a makeup look for beginners, please? I have the makeup, but don't know where to start. Yes, bitch. I can definitely do that. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a full fucking face beat to the...
Not for kids. All right. It's funny. What's going on here? Oh my God, what is moving? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry,
Can
you
you
guys.
do a makeup look for
All right,
beginners,
lawyer
please?
Mark.
I have the makeup, but don't know where
It
to
was
start.
moving.
Yes, bitch. I can definitely do that. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a full fucking
Lawyer,
face beat
I'm
to
so
the
sorry
fucking
about that.
bitch. But we're going to talk in beginner terms.
All right. Oh, it's lawyer Mark with a C. Lawyer Mark. Here we go. Let's see if he has any updates on the Kohlberger. Okay, so pinned. I don't believe that Brian Kohlberger, he doesn't think that Brian Kohlberger, I'm going to block my thing. And let's see what he has to say about Brian Kohlberger.
I don't believe that Brian Kohlberger's case will ever go to trial. Why? Let's get to work. The state of Idaho has declared that they are seeking the death penalty for Brian Kohlberger upon his conviction by firing squad in Idaho. When you are defense counsel for an individual who goes from looking at life as a maximum for their crimes to execution, capital punishment as a result of their crimes, your job shifts. And now you have to take a different look at what the state is doing. Like they're certifying death. I have to assume, and these defense attorneys have to assume, that the state of Idaho is not rolling the dice here, that they have the goods. And they know that because every day they've been pounded with discovery from the state, and they're seeing overwhelming evidence. Now, there's been this talk of, oh, maybe, state wants to know, do you have an alibi defense, Mr. Kohlberger? Because if you do, time's up. And we need to have it so we can investigate it. Well, Kohlberger says, no, I don't have that. And his attorney is saying, no, he drives around at night a lot, so we can't put him in a particular spot. That's not creepy. Here's my point. And this is what happens in a capital punishment case. And this is a process. But there's a phone conversation between defense attorney and the lead prosecutor, and it goes something like this. Madam Prosecutor, how are you? Good. What can I do for you? Listen, if we came to you with a life offer, would you consider it? And the prosecutor has to say this, basically, it will. If and when you do that, we will definitely consider it. I'm not guaranteeing you anything, but within a reasonable time period. Okay. As defense counsel, I'm not going to ask what that reasonable time period is right now. The fact that the prosecutor just told me that they will consider a life offer to not go to trial, to trade it for death. Now, here's the process. You just don't go to a defendant and say, hey, if you plead life right now, I'll go back to the state and it's over, you get life. And it is a process. And sometimes it can take months to start to go over the evidence with the defendant. You're saying, oh, I baby him up. Well, it's not just the process for the defendant, but it's also the process for the families of the victims. It's a process for the victims because the prosecutor has to discuss with them, do you want a trial for this guy? Do you want him, coming into court every day and sitting there as we put on this evidence and give him his opportunity to get off on whatever all this is? Or would you accept that he just goes away for life? No fanfare, nothing, goes to state prison. Now, victims, it's not just one meeting with the prosecutors on that. You just don't sit down and say, what do you want to do? Okay, that's a process too. And sometimes families have to talk to each other and amongst themselves and say, do we want to sit through a trial? If he pleads straight up to life, we'll be done with him. We love a trial, everybody, but this is not for us to decide. This is really outside of our realm. And the victims, the next of kin in this case, in any case, have to be respected, but everybody's got to agree, or everybody's got to come along with the same process. Now, the victims may say, we all want the death penalty. We don't mind a trial. We'll go through that. Prosecutors have to consider it, but the state of Idaho has the final say. We don't know how those We know that there are talks going on because it's very quiet. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's not going to be a trial in October because Koberger, if he's convicted, his first appellate issue is my attorneys in a death penalty case sped this up so fast that they worked too fast. How did they have time to prepare this case? And he'd be right. So this going to the October deadline is strategic in a lot of ways for the defense to speed discovery, but they also don't want to rock the boat. And I'm sure there's some conversations they have to be. As an attorney, you have to go over all options with your client, the defendant, and you have to explain to him you're looking at death if you're convicted. And if the jury does not like your mitigation, meaning that you acted in a look, this guy premeditated a home invasion, quadruple homicide. All right, this is a savage act of violence that definitely would qualify on all the aggravators and the death penalty statutes in all the states that still have it, and federally. So they definitely have the right to. I mean, under state law, they have the ability under what their aggravators are in Idaho to prosecute Koberger. But at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, this guy, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, but I look at him as being a coward. While he does want attention, he doesn't want attention on his way to the gallows. He'd rather have his attention in the jail. They can interview him in the next 25 years or whatever, tell his real story from the jail. Fuck him. You have to look at it as defense counsel and saying, we're not going to gamble here. Let's discuss with him. Let's start to put that idea in his head if he wants to plead to life. Now, that plea to life has to go back to the state, and you have to say he's ready to plead to life if you'll accept that in exchange for waiving death in this case. The state will go, thank you, we'll consider it, and you may hear from them in a few days, a week, a month. You don't know, but you will hear from them. So in my mind, I don't see the movement right now that I would see in a case that's ready to go to trial at all. What I'm seeing right here is kind of a quiet period where I think both sides are talking to each other, and they may be positioning here for this type of offer to be made, not right now, but it could be made in the future. Keep an eye on it. Again, this is my theory. It's my theory because I've done these types of cases before, and they're different. You don't roll the dice on a death penalty case because the appellate courts won't let you. They'll kick it right back down again if there are mistakes by defense counsel for pushing this too quickly. So I'll come back with an update on this, but I don't believe that.
Thank you. I mute the mic so that you won't hear background when I'm playing music, when I'm playing a video. What's that? Connection is unstable. If I'm on Wi-Fi, try plugging. Oh yeah, my connection's unstable. I'm on Wi-Fi. So can you hear me now? I hope so. Anyway, I'm going. I'm logging off now. So if you can't hear me, bye. I'll be back with a more interesting trial now that this one's over. Not sure I'm into this one about the strangled girlfriend. You know, it's only second-degree murder. But all right. I don't want to sound morbid, but it's not as intriguing as someone who flies off and escapes to Costa Rica and gets a nose job and all that stuff. So. But, that ending, it is sad after all. Like you said, the families have to go through the whole thing. When we don't know the people, it's like, for us, it's entertainment. I mean, unfortunately, it's not meant to be, but it is. But anyway, but we learn, too, from these trials. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon. Maybe next week. Probably not on the weekend. Probably after I get to Massachusetts. Okay. Sarah Boone. Oh, wait. Now let's look at that. I haven't heard of that one. Sarah. Yeah, if it goes to trial. Sarah Boone. Trial. Killing of George Torres. Is that the one? Oh, the suitcase. Right. She put him in the suitcase and said they were playing hide and seek. Oh, yeah. See, that's so. I kind of don't like. I mean, I'm always into the especially husbands killing wives or wives killing husband. I don't know why. Maybe because I have some unfinished business from my marriage, so I don't know. But the ones where or love triangle ones, those are the kind of things that I don't like when I know that the victim has suffered for a long time. Like with this one, poor girl Mo Wilson, she only suffered, a few seconds. So, it was a quick, more intriguing is all the story, behind it. But that poor man, yeah, was in the suitcase begging for his life. That's a little bit too much. But yeah, I do wonder what the outcome will be. She is a nut job. Yeah, I did see her interview with the police. They do those interviews. The Nicole Kessinger one, the Chris Watts one, that's over with, but yeah, that's, you see, again, toying with feelings, toying with married men. Now she claims she didn't know. She knew. She didn't know that he was going to do that. But see, she knew he was married. Stay away from married men. All right. Okay, I gotta go. Stay away from married women, all of you. Don't fiddle around. See, again, this is someone who's attached, maybe not officially. Even if the man is the one cheating, let's say you're the woman, in the case of Chris Watts, he was cheating, and so Nicole Kessinger could have said, oh, well, it's his choice to cheat. I'm not doing anything wrong. If you really like a guy, you might wiggle around and find the excuse. She apparently really liked him, or I don't know if they loved each other, but they weren't together. But she knew that he was married. So she should have just, she was silly to do what she did. And now look, she's disappeared. She's in hiding or whatever, but her reputation for the rest of her life is messed up. Everyone hates her. Okay. Because see, that's why it's not her fault. She's not guilty legally, but morally she does have some guilt in that killing. The same way Colin Strickland morally does have a little bit of guilt. He wasn't doing things the way. So anyway, all right, I gotta go. See you. Chris Watts' case got me into the true crime genre. Yeah. No, that was, and people, that's why he was a nice guy all his life. Same with Kaitlin Armstrong. Apparently nice lady, relatively successful, pretty, obviously nice, attractive. And they snap. They snap when it comes to affairs of the heart. You have to be very careful. The nicest people are the ones you got to be more afraid of. Like in my case, I know I'm like this. I might, like scream my head off, and I did when I was younger. I didn't scream my head off, but some guy hurt my feelings, and I saw him with another girl. After he had done what he did to me, and I made sure she knew about it, and I was saying all this stuff, and she didn't care. She's like, oh, okay. She didn't care, but so I might look crazy on the surface, or I might have at the time, but I wouldn't go kill someone. So maybe the ones who are more quiet, they say, the ones that are like the little nice ones are the ones that maybe you got to be more worried about. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just talking now. They snap. Exactly. And that's what I'm thinking too. People who don't let out their feelings like overtly, and they keep it in. Oh, I have to behave properly. I have to, it's like they're holding it in. Her friend even said she started shaking when she found out that he was seeing Mo Wilson. And, that's someone withholding her feelings in, keeping it in. It's got to come out somewhere. So you really need to scream at the woman, scream at the man, let it out, or find some other way. She did yoga. That obviously didn't help her. Sometimes you just got to scream, embarrass yourself. I'm embarrassed. Of course I'm embarrassed, especially when the woman didn't react like I wanted her to. When I said, oh, well, so-and-so and he and I, and we did this and blah, 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 whatever I said. I was 20-something. And she didn't react the way I wanted her to. She was like, I mean, basically her reaction was, okay, well, whatever, that's history. I'm with him now. Like, she didn't say it, but she was sort of like, you know, I guess I wanted her to say, oh, how could you do that to her, slap or whatever, but even so, I got it out of my system. And then, I was hurt for a while and I got over it. All right. Well, in my 20s, I was not feisty, I was just overtly, look how nervous I am now. I'm a very hyper person. When I learn to channel it, I'm better. But I sometimes can channel it a little bit. But no, I was completely out of control with verbally, never physically, but verbally, I was completely out of control. When I was in my 20s, I would show whatever emotion I had, just came out. I didn't care if, and I lost embarrassment after a while, because it's sort of like, whatever, I feel better. I'd be embarrassed and I'd regret the embarrassing part, but I'd still feel good that I got it out. So I don't know. I'm not suggesting you do that, but just if you're the kind of person that keeps it in because, you want it to look good on the surface, you have to find somewhere to let that out. You have to be able to go, maybe I should have take my own advice, but I didn't do it. Go to a boxing ring and punch. Men tend to do that better when they tend to get their anger out physically, but go get it out physically somewhere. Exercise or go to a boxing gym and punch the bag, or, don't take it out physically on other people. And women need to take it out. And again, there's always exceptions. Some women can get it out physically, but yoga is supposed to be this thing. Obviously, it doesn't work if she, anyway. I'm just talking. It's my own personal opinion. I might not be right. I'm not saying you should go out there and embarrass yourself like I used to do, but it's got to be let out somewhere. And maybe screaming at the people in public is better than killing someone. So, if you have to do something and it makes you, but definitely if you have a gun, get rid of it. She had a gun that's, and gun control thing comes up again, because look, she was a woman that's perfectly capable of having a gun. She had no criminal record. She had no mental health record, past. She appeared to be, yoga teacher. She appeared to have her crap together. And, so she had a gun license that was a legally owned gun. And while I like to say, oh, freedom of the Second Amendment and all that, and I'm usually in favor of the gun rights, but, if she didn't have that gun, maybe this wouldn't have happened. So I don't know. Now you have to always question your views, always re-question, just in case you could be wrong. I still think we should be able to have access to a gun for protection. Because, see, a gun rights person would say, yeah, well, if Mo Wilson would have had a gun, she probably still would be dead, because when she wasn't expecting it. Like, if you're expecting someone, then you have, but she wasn't even expecting that to happen. So even if Mo Wilson would have had a gun for defense, likely she wouldn't have, especially if she was a responsible gun owner that doesn't have it laying around the house. Plus, she was on a trip. I don't know. I don't want to open another can of worms. But anyway, the woman smacks, let's see, like the scene in The Office where Dwight is seeing another woman. Oh, I haven't seen that episode. I'll have to see it. I don't know if I could see reruns on YouTube or something. Probably I could get that scene. Yeah, smack the woman in the head. That's physical assault, but okay, it's not, I don't know what the answer is, but it's just, no man is worth it, ladies, really. One woman is dead, two women's lives are ruined. One is dead and one's in jail for the rest of her life. Now the guy is off. I'm not saying he's happy about it. Some guys even think, oh, hey, I'm such a hot stuff. Look at that. Did happen in another case. The woman killed the other woman. So the one woman's in jail, the other woman's dead. And the guy was like, yeah, I'm so important. These women fighting over me. And then off, now with some other woman, I assume. whatever happened to him. But so silly. Okay, guys, see you soon. Bye. I guess I gotta be going. But yeah, we'll look at some trials that we can agree on. Yeah, the guy in the suitcase is a little too morbid for me. Maybe this strangle the girlfriend one. I don't know. We'll see. Bye. I'll look on my list too. I have a list of trials that I was gonna follow up on. I have to go through it. Bye. Bye. Oops, I pressed it wrong. Hang on. End stream. Bye.